All right, so here we go. I'm going to start off by sharing my screen. So to get started, I'm Lauren Sanchez. I am one of the folks that is helping host tonight. Can you guys see my screen? Not if you can, you can. Okay. So I'm one of your hosts tonight, along with Brie and Jenny and Chloe, who spoke a little bit here a moment ago. But first of all, I want to thank you guys. I know it's Monday night, and it means a lot that you showed up for the call tonight, because so many of us could be doing other things like watching Netflix and chilling or whatever it is that you do for fun. So the event tonight is really intended to encourage us to think outside of the box in regards to health, time, and just freedom. And you've been invited because the folks that I mentioned respect you and just want you to know what they're up to. So the event's going to be super relaxed. You don't have to buy or sign up for anything. Really just, we want to share some brief information and stories, and we hope you'll enjoy listening. And since we don't get to do a lot of interacting on the call tonight, I want to ask you a question to start off, and you guys can raise your hands or drop a comment in the chat box. But that question is, would you agree that being healthy today can be challenging? So yes, I'm glad I'm not the only one. We'd all love to look good, feel good, and live a long life. And we know it's our job to, try and make that happen. But in today's world, it feels like it can be so complicated, unpleasant, confusing. Time is an issue, right? But that's really where this community of folks come in, and why the person that's here tonight invited you. And it's a movement called the Healthy Living Revolution. So you'll see here it says, join the revolution. I, along with thousands of others, are part of this unique community that's really interested in helping people take their health back in ways that are simple, doable, and fun. And the goal is really to come alongside families who want better health. And there are 3 ways we really do that and try to help make that possible for folks. Let's see here. Okay, so the first is free resources. So we have a ton of free resources, which I'll go into a bit more in a minute. Nutritional support, and then there's an organization that really makes it all possible. So the first are the free resources. There's a website that we have that the person that invited you can send you after this call, and it includes cookbooks, short webinars on trending health topics, which, if I'm being honest, is my favorite because I've learned so much, and I listen to them while I'm driving or headed anywhere. And then we have a Start Strong program for kids. So if you have kids, or if you know people who have kids who struggle with them being sick all the time or whatever, this program is really cool. And I'll also share a little bit more later about the Family Healthy Starts program, which is awesome. The second way that we're committed to helping people is through nutrition. And we all know that we need to eat healthy, but again, it can be so hard, right? That's where plant concentrates come in. So I'm going to show a quick slide here. And these are basically fruits and vegetables in a capsule. So many of you may know that there are tons of health fads out right now that say, eat this, don't eat this, or, do this to lose weight quickly. But the one thing that has remained true over time is that we need more fruits and vegetables. And it's not just to be skinny or look good on the outside, which, we do all, that is important, because usually what's going on the outside can be a reflection of what's going on the inside. But we need now more than we ever have. And it's because our food quality is not the same as it once was. And because of that and other life factors, developing a chronic illness or disease is higher than ever. So the current recommendation, this is so fun for me, is 7 to 13 every day. So if you look at my fist, or hold your fist up, maybe some of you can do that to humor me here. We need 7 to 13 of these a day. So if you think about eating 7 to 13 fist-sized servings of fruits and vegetables, that's how many we should getting in order to help our bodies function in the best way possible. And even the best eaters nowadays need help. So that's where these plant powder capsules come in. So what this is, it's called Choose Plus. It's over 30 different raw, vine-ripened whole foods. It's non-GMO and NSF certified to be pure. I call it a salad in a capsule because it is the easiest way for getting, all of that in there. And I think most people on the call who invited folks would agree. So this is really the foundation of what we do. And the farm to capsule process, which I feel is important to describe, is because some people will say, well, why shouldn't I just eat fruits and vegetables and berries? Well, it's because a lot of them nowadays are pulled off the vine super early. So like broccoli 40 years ago doesn't have the same nutritional content. So for these, the fruits and vegetables are ground up. The whole food is used, including the peels, leaves, and seeds whenever possible. And one quick fact that I think is really awesome to share is that 80% of vitamin C is found in an orange peel. So if we look here, right, like a lot of us are like, oh, I'm drinking orange juice or whatever. Most of the nutritional content is found in the peel. And I don't know about you, but I don't often eat the peel of the orange. So once it's ground up, it's slow dried at low temperatures, and that preserves the live nutrients. And it's put into capsules or chewables, which is kind of what you see here. So I have yet to meet somebody who doesn't know what fruits and vegetables are and that doesn't agree that they could benefit by getting more every day. We're certainly passionate about health in this community, and we don't get it right every day. I definitely don't. I love that Juice Plus helps bridge the gap. And it's not to replace fruits and veggies, but it is to help us when we fall short each day with what we should be eating. So I want to go ahead and invite someone on to share their story. And so I actually wanted to ask Brie if she would unmute herself and hop on and share a little bit. There you go, Brie.
Yeah, can you hear me? All right. You guys can hear me? Okay. Well, thank you, everyone, for joining tonight. I have a couple people on here, and I really appreciate you guys listening to my story. So my name is Brianna Torgiano, and I currently live in Tennessee. My background is in healthcare. I've been a registered nurse for about 10 years now, but approximately 9 of those were spent in the military, and I worked as a RN in the military, among other things. About a year ago, I left the military to get married and become a stepmom. After doing that, I moved to a new city and I started a new job. And I was introduced to Juice Plus by a friend about 7 months ago. But at the time, I was on my second civilian job in less than a year, and I felt like my life was just completely out of control. When I was in the military, I had been deployed to Afghanistan, and when I came home, I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. I had seen the worst in humanity, and it had caused me to have nightmares, flashbacks, difficulty being in public places because I feel like I can't trust people, and the list goes on and on. I never dealt with my PTSD because in the military, it's not really the kosher thing to do. It's not really okay. They don't give you the time to do it, and a lot of times I always thought, oh, well, mine's not that bad. It's not, everyone else's worse. When in reality, people in the healthcare industry in the military are 80% more likely to suffer from PTSD. So along with the PTSD, I had severe depression and anxiety, as well as panic attacks. So when this friend introduced me to Juice Plus, I was just completely overwhelmed with life, is the easiest way to say it. I wasn't able to get to work on time, and because of my depression and anxiety, I could only work about 4 hours every day, and then I'd have to leave work. In March of this year of 2019, I ended up losing my job because of my inability to get to work on time and to stay at work for the entire 8 hours that I was supposed to be there. And I felt like a huge failure because I couldn't help provide for my family. My husband's the school teacher, so we're obviously not living in the lap of luxury. And I couldn't function like a normal adult could, or what I felt like was a normal adult. I also felt like I was letting a lot of people down, but mostly I just felt very, very alone in my struggle. And losing my job was actually, now in hindsight, the perfect timing for me and a huge blessing because it actually forced me to start taking care of myself, something that I had never done. I started going to counseling and I was put on some medication, but I have always believed in holistic care, and I knew that I didn't want to be on the medication forever. And holistic care to me is so important because I feel like in the medical world, we often put Band-Aids on pre-existing problems instead of actually trying to prevent people from getting those problems or trying to cut them off at the pass. I also felt like I could never catch a person in time to help them make better choices in life before they're already down a road that we can't fix, or that we just put that Band-Aid on. But with Juice Plus, I feel like it's all about prevention and reparation. So when I started talking to this friend who introduced me to Juice Plus again after I had lost my job, and she told me how Juice Plus is huge for mental health, I decided in May to join the business and start taking Juice Plus. I'm already loving this business, knowing that I am taking care of myself in a healthier way. I love the science behind Juice Plus because I love education, and I'm obviously a nerd about the scientific stuff. But I also love knowing that I'm also helping prevent potential future health issues, especially because my dad's side of the family has diabetes, and he is currently a diabetic, and my mom had breast cancer. There have only been 2 times in my entire life where I felt like I was living out my purpose completely. The first one was when I was in Afghanistan, and the second was once I joined the Juice Plus business. I get so excited to work now. I would probably work all day long if I could. But working from home has helped me tremendously, as I never felt like I fit into the civilian world. I want to make Juice Plus my full-time job where I can help provide for my family, but also enjoy traveling and spending time with my family. So thank you all for coming tonight, and I appreciate you listening to my story.
Oh, thank you, Brie. I
You're
just
welcome.
love that. I think it's really cool how oftentimes our greatest purpose comes from our greatest pain. You know, the things that we struggle with the most. Can anybody else relate to that on the call?
Yep.
I feel like a lot of times the things that kind of draw you in or that make you really want to help other people are when you've been through difficult things. And I guess that's a good segue to my story. I always love hearing Bree's, which is only the second time I've heard hers, but it's just so powerful. So my name is Lauren Sanchez. I'm from Orlando, Florida. And my journey really started, I guess, when I found out I was pregnant for the first time. So my oldest is 5, and I have a 3-year-old. And I always had kind of thought I knew I wanted to be healthy, right? We all want to be healthy, but I didn't really know what that meant. But then when I had a child, I was like, wow, okay, I have a reason to be healthy. I want them to be healthy. I want to be around for my kids when they have kids one day, because I feel like being the grandparent is just one of the most amazing gifts that people get. And unfortunately, in the 10 years prior to my kids being born, my husband and I lost 3 of 4 of our parents before the age of 30 to illness and disease. So my husband lost his mom at 50 to cancer. My dad passed away at 45 to mental illness and suicide, which is still very controversial today, but he struggled with addiction a lot in his life. And, that pain for me, it was one of the most difficult things I've ever been through. But it's funny how now I feel like I get to use that in this community with encouraging people. And it's also, depression is part of my own story. So my dad passed, and then my father-in-law passed a month before we found out we were pregnant to an autoimmune. He had rheumatoid arthritis, which typically you don't hear of tragedy like that happening, but it just caused some fibrosis in his lungs, and the next day his heart gave out. It was just a very unexpected. So for us, what should be super happy, right, of finding out you're pregnant or having a grandchild or whatever that is in your stage of life, was overshadowed by a lot of trauma and tragedy for us. And so we sought out some holistic doctor for a pediatrician, because we knew that we just wanted to have a more comprehensive view of what health looked like. Because, I mean, his mom, my dad, and my husband's dad had all been medicated and been on medicine. And I never really felt like that helped them in any way other than just kind of, minimizing symptoms. So when we went to this pediatrician, he really pissed me off because he kept asking how I was eating. And I'm like, why do you care? That's not important. Like, I'm interviewing you. Why are you asking me these questions? And he was asking because he had seen the power of putting good food in your body in his practice for over 40 years. He's co-authored some books and done some really incredible things. And he was actually the first one to tell me about Juice Plus. So immediately I was like, yes, if it's going to help my kids be healthy, I'll do it. I didn't do it for me. I did it for them, which is how this often starts out for us, right? And so I had zero expectation of it doing anything for me. I just knew he had been a pediatrician. He's co-authored books. I trusted him. And over the course of 4 years, I had all my allergies go away. Used to take Claritin daily, used to get allergy injections once a week for over 18 years. Those all faded away. I used to have like some stomach issues where I would have trouble going to the bathroom, or I just feel bloated and my stomach would be upset all the time. And that started to go away. I was sleeping better. Lots of different things that are just super powerful, you know, for me. I had lived with those things my whole life and I thought they were normal. And who knew fruits and vegetables would make them go away? So that's a little about just my personal story. And then my husband and I, since we started changing even some of our eating habits, which came later, my husband's lost 40 pounds and I lost about 30. And we just feel like we have more energy than we did before kids. And I feel a lot more confident in my husband's family history with so much cancer that the clinical research shows that it literally changes your genes to make them more healthy. And so I feel really great knowing that, because before I always had this lurking fear kind of in the background. So that's a little bit about my health story. It's just been such a fun journey for us. And all I did was say yes. I didn't have any expectations, but I have been more than pleasantly surprised. And my life looks so different now. So thank you so much, guys, for letting me share. All right. Well, we're going to move on to kind of the next segment here of our call. And so we're going to shift gears a little bit. I'm going to show you guys a couple more of the products just real quickly. There aren't very many. There are only about 5. So what's really neat about this is I already talked about the fruit, vegetable, and berry capsule, which is the red, green, and purple. We also have an omega. It's the newest product. It's fully plant-based. So a lot of people think that they get omegas from fish, but fish actually eat algae, and that's where it comes from. So there are all kinds of stories about how sustainability with fish and how crops are dying off because of how much we're farming them. And there's so many that are killed making omega capsules from fish oil. And so this is one way that's a lot more sustainable because it is a plant and it's algae. We also have a product called a Complete, and it can be used to make pancakes, shakes, all kinds of yummy things. And you've probably heard it said, right? I feel like a lot of people have. Sometimes we don't want to be reminded. But fitness is 20% exercise and 80% nutrition. So it does come back to what we eat at the end of the day. And it can have a tremendous difference on how we feel. So that's a great way to get a quick meal, post-recovery workout, or a snack. And then we also have that in bar form. And then the last thing is we have a hydroponic tower garden where really you can grow things with only water and nutrients. And it's so much less expensive than buying a lot of produce nowadays. One of our plants lasted for over a year and we just kept harvesting off of it, which was really neat. So we are going to shift gears a little bit here. And I want to segue to talk a little bit just about the mission, and I want to touch on a few things. So the first is some skepticisms, right? So there may be some of you on the call tonight who are a little bit skeptical, and I am worried if people aren't skeptical, to be honest. The first skepticism that I want to address is the difference between traditional business and what we do. So in most traditional businesses, people work in a big company or organization. Sometimes it's cutthroat or you're stuck in the same position for a long time. And, staff loyalty, sticking with the same company anymore, it's not what it used to be. Brie's shared her experience. I also have been let go from a job. My husband has been laid off multiple times when he was a top performer just because the company is shifting gears. And it can make it really hard for a lot of people nowadays. And so I feel like today gone are the days of working for yourself from the bottom to the top of the company. What I love about Juice Plus is that we all start off at the same place. And it's very common for people to reach the top position level that gives full-time health benefits, which is just incredible. There aren't many companies out there that do that anymore. The second thing that I was skeptical about is that I thought you had to annoy all your friends and family. And, some of you may be friends or family that are on the call tonight supporting the folks that invited you. But I think the cool thing about what we do is one area we get to help people with is health. And I think we'd all agree that there's so many people out there that are looking to invest in or improve their health. And when I first, decided to take a look at this, there were people that I thought of immediately that I knew could benefit based on the research and who were looking for better health. So I knew people that struggled with energy like me, allergies like me, constipation like me, eczema like my kids, all the things kids struggle with. And I just heard their stories and took a genuine interest in them. And so, all we do is educate and then give people the opportunity to choose if it's something that they want to explore. And the other thing that's really cool is, I don't think I ever thought something like this would exist. And I think Chloe and others on this call would agree. So you can kind of nod your head that you can do something that's super meaningful and help people. And your health doesn't have to be perfect. We're all works in progress, and there is no level of perfection in health because our bodies and the world we live in is always changing, but we want to make it the best we can while we're here. And I think most people would agree. And then the last skepticism that I want to address is that I thought I needed to know a lot of people. And, sometimes you may meet people or you may be on this call saying, I'm here to support so-and-so, but I'm not sure that this is for me. And you know what? Like, if that's you, that is okay. But the cool thing is there may be people that that could benefit from this. And that's simply why we share. And so it's hard for me to count on two hands the amount of people that I knew before this journey. I've just met so many people and gotten to know their stories. Like, you'll get to hear one more here in a minute. But, even Brie's level of transparency of, her health story, like, when we share our stories, it gives us purpose and it turns our pain into purpose and allows us to truly help others. So with that, I want to invite Jenny on to share her story.
Thank you, Lauren. Hi, you guys. I am Jenny Yonda, and I am so honored to be sharing my story with you guys tonight. So I'm a wife, and I am also a mom of two young, crazy little boys. And I'm also a personal trainer and a fitness instructor and nutritionist. And I said yes to Juice Plus, the product first, because honestly, my husband, meat and potatoes. And then when we had children, I just, I had this idea that because I am a wellness professional, that my children would just automatically eat all of their fruits and vegetables perfectly, right? So insert very humbling moment when that was not the case. If you have kids, you might know exactly what I'm talking about. So I very much appreciated an easy way to ensure that my babies were getting over 30 better than organic fruits and veggies and grains through their daily Juice Plus chewables and shakes. So for us, for our family, it was an easy button and a peace of mind as a parent. But it then has resulted in changes that, Lauren talked about skepticism, and I myself was skeptical about it at first. So the things that we started noticing were, like, my children and my husband were being more open to trying and even liking more fruits and veggies, more regular and healthy digestive tracts for the whole family. Last season, of course it's summertime now, but before school ended, I especially noticed that my kids were not catching every single little thing that was passed around, which is huge, right? So for our family, the products were pretty much a no-brainer. But what came as a surprise to me was Juice Plus, the business opportunity. before we had kids, my job was personal training and teaching from early in the morning to late in the evening, 5 to 6 days a week. And I love it. I loved it, but I worked a whole lot. And when we started having kids, we knew that we wanted for me to be able to stay home. So I cut back on work a ton, which of course decreased our income a ton. So the plan was for me to increase my work again when the boys went to preschool every day for half a day. But before that happened, I was finally ready to listen about the business opportunity of Juice Plus. And to be honest with you guys, my first response was, I will not be a salesperson, because I had worked really hard for 10 years to create a name for myself and someone that people trusted, and I didn't want them to see me as a salesperson. And my friend said, then don't be a salesperson. So honestly, I am not. I do not sell Juice Plus. What I do is I share something with everyone that I believe so strongly in that I feel like it is my duty to tell everyone about it. And then whether they decide that the product or the business is right for them is their decision. But because my friend introduced it to me, our family is considerably more healthy and more aware of healthy choices. And now I have a business that has allowed me to reach more people than I ever could have before. I stay home with my kids every day. I never miss any of their events, and it's provided an income for us that now allows us to live the lifestyle that we were before when I was working 50 plus hours a week. And before, my job of training and teaching fitness, I only got paid when I was physically with a client or physically teaching a class. So that meant, if we were on vacation, if somebody was sick, if my client canceled, I wouldn't get paid. So essentially I was trading hours for dollars, right? And I love training. I love teaching fitness, and I still do that. But now I do it when I want to do it, because I have this side business that I can do from anywhere and at any time. So this is an opportunity and a community of people that I never knew that I needed, because I've always worked alone in my own business. But now I truly don't know what I would do without them. So thank you guys so much for hearing my story tonight. Thank you for hosting this, and I'll pass it on to you, Lauren, to wrap it up.
Oh, thank you, Jenny. I don't even think I've ever really heard your full story before. So that's awesome to get to kind of hear the evolution of it. I feel like most people, start out with the product and then, that's not true. Some people do both at the same time, but for some people, it really looks different for everybody. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap us up tonight. And we're really looking to kind of partner with two types of people. So like we've said tonight, there are people who are ready to take the next step in their health. And if that's you and it's checking out the free resources that are available, or just to make life easier by adding Juice Plus and saying, what if, then we would love to connect with you. It only costs a few dollars a day. Kids can get it for free. So if you have grandkids, nieces and nephews, it's a really great thing for them, especially in the day and age we live in, because it seems like kids are sick a lot. Mine have not been sick in 2 years, which I feel like is pretty crazy for their age. But it's a super simple, convenient way to get massive amounts of nutrition into busy families. And then the second is anybody who may want to earn a stable residual income in order to expand their options while they make a difference. So each of us tonight, you've seen that hopefully we've gotten across the point that this is so much more to us than it is, just about making money. It's a mission. We're a mission-driven organization that really just seeks to educate people and to share what we're passionate about with others. So if you're curious in learning more, reach out to the person who invited you. And I just want to say a big, big thank you for hopping on tonight. Hopefully we'll get to see some of you guys on the other side, and maybe at a local event in your area. There are things going on all over the country, and actually in over 20 countries all the time with our community. It's truly amazing. And it's been such a pleasure to jump on tonight and share with you guys what we're up to. So I hope everybody has an awesome night. Thank you for tuning in from DC, Tennessee. Where else do we have? Texas. And then I don't know where else everyone's from. So if you didn't get to share that earlier, you'll have to unmute yourself and hop on. Have a good night, everybody.